Hi guys, today we're going to go and make Chinese style green beans. In Chinese, it is called 干煸四季豆. And it's actually one of Diane's favorite dishes. And it's very flavorful, so I would recommend eating it with white rice or something, not just on its own.
I like to eat it on its own.
So first of all, you need green beans. And just make sure it's Chinese style green beans and not the Chinese long beans, because those are a little different. Those beans tend to be like this long or longer, and they're very hearty. They're texturally and flavor-wise a little bit different.
Dark green as well.
Darker, yes. And so for some of the seasonings today, we're going to have garlic, ginger, dried red chilies, Sichuan peppercorns, some Chinese preserved greens. They are fermented, and I'll probably throw up on the screen a screenshot of what the bag looked like, as well as some kind of meat. And it is optional, but traditionally it would be either ground beef or ground pork. And you could omit it, or you could certainly use, Impossible or Beyond Meat. Should work just fine.
And just to clarify, these are normal green beans that you buy at the supermarket.
Correct.
How much do green beans typically cost per pound?
Like probably around, I'd say 170 to something a pound. And I do also want to distinguish, to differentiate it from haricot vert. So you're probably not going to need to get the skinny French string beans, just because the first part we're actually going to be frying it. So it's a frying blanch. And if you're using something too delicate, I think it just overcooks a little too easily.
It might dry out.
Yeah.
And for those who don't know, what does blanch mean? Not just a golden girl, right?
So blanch is usually the first step when you're cooking something multiple times. So especially with vegetables, oftentimes they are blanched first, and that usually involves maybe simmering water. But in this case, it's going to be hot oil.
So you can oil blanch. It's not just water blanch.
Yeah. It's just like an initial, typically high heat cooking method.
So like a shock.
Well, the shock would be only if you iced it afterwards.
Mm.
And you would do that to retain color. But in this case, it's not so necessary. I would recommend not skipping this first step. I think it's tempting probably to just use water and blanch it, but the results will not be the same.
Do you have oil going in a pan right now?
I do. That's why I keep turning my head, because it's on high heat and I just want to make sure it doesn't overheat. Oh. Okay, so green beans are going to go in. So you can check with one. There should be some activity. Probably split this into 2 batches. So the first one.
A lot of people may not want to do this at home because those oil bubbles just go everywhere.
Yeah, they do.
But this is at least fun to watch.
So, I've seen recipes online. You could go with a little less oil and do a more shallow fry. This is going to get you the best results.
I'm mesmerized. This is so fun to watch. How do you know when it's done frying?
It doesn't have to be done. We're just making it wrinkly.
Huh. Pruny.
It gets cooked further later, and also I think the end result, we're going for more crisp tender, so you actually don't want to overcook it.
This is definitely one of my favorite dishes. If it's on the menu at a restaurant, I always get it.
These are nothing like the green beans you get out of a can.
Which I also love and you hate.
Mm-hmm. So I could do 3 batches.
Okay. Do people also call this twice fried green beans?
Not that I'm aware of. There's twice cooked pork belly. Maybe for vegetables, it's just so many of them are twice cooked. It's pretty normal. Especially for something like green beans.
I will let people know that for my birthday, Chef Willett cooked my favorite foods. He didn't buy me any presents, but cooking the food that I love is better than any present he could buy me. I don't even know what you would buy me, honestly. I noticed you peeled off both ends of the green beans.
No, just one end.
Just one end.
And then if they're long, you want to snap them in half.
Which end did you snap off?
The one that is hardy. So, like this end is okay.
Got it.
You can see it.
What kind of oil are you using today?
So I'm using grapeseed oil.
Grapeseed oil.
But you could also use any kind of neutral tasting oil. And actually, this is my last batch, so.
So you can put hot oil in a stainless pan?
Yeah. Into a non-stick pan?
I mean, sorry, non-stick.
Yeah, of course. Most non-sticks are okay going fairly high up. So here with this pan with some oil left, I'm going to drop the heat. I'm going to get my beef in. So the ratio here is going to be a little off in that for a portion of green beans like that, we would probably only use maybe a 1/4 pound, and that's a full pound. It goes well with rice. Honestly, I just don't want to deal with leftover ground beef or something else. You know, we're seeing family for meals over the next couple of days, so I don't want to have stuff just left over in the fridge. I'm going to turn the heat up just a little bit. And this beef is extra lean. Normally, you would probably use a fattier blend.
What's the ratio for extra lean?
Extra lean is 96% lean.
Got it.
But for this, I would say traditionally you'd probably use like 80-20, 80% lean, 20% fat. So for the garlic and ginger, for the garlic, I would recommend just smashing really flat. If you want, you can kind of make a few cuts one way. It's just going to be pretty rough. We're not going for any kind of uniformity here. Just a little rough chop. Ginger, it's easier to just kind of slice it into planks first. And since we're cooking, all of this doesn't have to be too small. Get our matchsticks. Oh, the rice is done.
That's so cute. The Japanese always have such cute little reminders.
Mm-hmm.
Kawaii desu ne.
Okay, so let's see. I'm going to turn this beef onto high since you can see all the liquids come out. I'm trying to cook out that liquid. And at this point, I can even just throw in my garlic and ginger.
You do that so masterfully. I feel like I would have dropped half of it on the way.
So we're going to cook all this liquid out. The residual oil that was originally in the pan will start frying everything, including the garlic and ginger.
I feel like we have more meat than green beans.
Yeah, and you know, I may not use all of it. I could cook it and then we'll just keep it separate. I think that's what I'm going to do. And then once it's fully cooked, it'll probably be good for, you know, close to a week. So we can use it next week. We could probably experiment with using it for a different vegetable as well. This oil, we're just going to let cool down completely. And what I like to do is just actually use a paper coffee filter, and then I'll save it, and then we can just use it up slowly for other cooking needs.
If you don't have a coffee filter, can you use cheesecloth, or is that not good enough?
It's usually not as good. You can use cheesecloth, probably triple line it. Just the more particulates left over in your oil, the more likely it's going to break down and have a lower smoking point. And also, oil that has been used, I tend to just keep refrigerated, just so it doesn't break down too much further.
Got it. Look at you cleaning as you go.
It's really bothering me. I've noticed something in my videos where I constantly have a paper towel that's not fully used and I have it lying around to wipe things, but then I see it in the final edit of the video. I'm like, oh, that looks so ugly. It's usually on my cutting board and I'm like trying to make a conscious effort to not have just a stray paper towel.
But see, now you've drawn attention to it, so people are going to look for it.
Yeah. All right. You can hear it change. The moisture is cooked out. It's gotten significantly louder. So I'm going to drop the heat a little.
So at this point, no salt.
Not yet. We're about to go in with some soy sauce.
What's your favorite vegetable dish, Chef?
I really like this dish as well.
Cop out. Pick something else.
I mean, what do you think my favorite vegetable
super
dish
cop
is?
out. Man, I would probably say 鱼香茄子.
No, I think that's more your sister and your mom. I like that dish. I wouldn't say it's my favorite.
I don't know. You don't like listing favorites.
I'll eat all my veggies, but I'm also not a big veggie person.
Bitter melon.
No, it's not my favorite.
Oh, man.
I like it. Definitely not favorite, though.
Really? Kale.
I like kale. It's not bad.
Maybe you just don't like vegetables.
Not as much as I like meat.
That's true.
Okay, so since we're going a little leaner here, we're not going to get the traditional browning on everything. And I don't feel compelled to add a lot of extra fat to it. But you can see it's cooked quite dry. And now I'm going to season the beef. So a little bit of regular soy, a little bit of dark soy. And you can also use some white pepper. And the sauce will cook into it. It'll also help deglaze the pan a little. This was our yield from 1 pound of ground beef. It's plenty. Here's our pan. Just kind of took all the meat out. Whatever's left over is okay. We do have to add a little oil at this point. So this is a very fatty dish, no matter how you do it, really. We're going to go in with our Sichuan peppercorns.
But it's vegetables. It's good for you.
And our dried red chilies. And if you want the spiciness to really permeate your dish, then you would slice up the chilies. I could do it this way because Diane doesn't enjoy as much spice as I do, and I'll eat all these chilies.
The pain is just pain, not pleasure. Or rather, the spice is just pain. It's making an interesting noise.
Yeah, I think that's just steam coming out of the chili peppers. Okay, so we're gonna use... It'll go a little heavy. We'll add our preserved veggie as well.
What kind of veg is this?
I think it's mustard greens.
Okay.
Going with a few spoonfuls.
And you just bought it in a packet, right?
Uh-huh. Saving a little green bean for our daughter, who doesn't want any of this stuff.
What a good father. Such a beautiful dish. Makes me think of Christmas.
Trying to get everything nice and coated. I'm going to turn off the heat. I think there's going to be enough residual. Give it a taste. So you can either use salt or you can use more soy sauce. Just personal preference.
Wow. So much action.
Here you are.
It's beautiful.
干煸四季豆
And what does 干煸mean?
means like dry fried.
Dry fry.
So you have a lot of meat, you have some dried chilies, Sichuan peppercorns, and green beans.
This is why I married you. Thank you.
I'd say this is one of my favorite dishes for veggies.
Man. More than asparagus?
I don't like asparagus that much either.
What about broccoli?
I like deep fried Brussels sprouts a lot.
Uh-huh.
Tried not to eat it though. Broccoli is pretty good. Not steamed, but like when it gets a little char. Broccolini is fine. Not a huge fan of carrots, but I eat them. I like mushrooms, but more of a fungus, not a veggie per se. Yeah, I'm just not that passionate about vegetables. I'll eat them. I eat a lot of them. It's good for you.
Got it.
And I don't hate it. No favorites.
Well, you're never opening a vegetarian or salad restaurant, are you?
I mean, I might. I hear the profit margins are pretty good.
Okay, that does it.
All right.
Favorite vegetable of Chef Willett to be continued. Maybe in the comments you can guess and he'll say whether it is or isn't. I don't even know, and I'm married to him. Jeez.